Welcome back, everybody, to Grounded in Greenville on WZMB 91.3 FM Greenville. My name is Nick Green.
And I am Kenny Gates.
And we are getting ready to get started. Kickstart. We're getting ready to kickstart our ECU Sports update, where we're going to talk about all ECU sports. We have a bunch to talk about with baseball. Before we do that, let's go ahead. We just finished up basketball season for both the men's and the women's, both losing in their conference tournaments. Women's losing in the American Championship to Rice, and then the men's losing to South Florida. Cannon, you want to just talk about your thoughts on what you thought about both men's and women's basketball?
Well, for men's, it was really just a struggle all year long with how it was like the beginning of the year with how we played. Like, we almost beat two NCAA tournament teams in Florida and South Carolina. Looked good in both those games.
Yeah.
But then with some other games, like I think we lost like East Tennessee State.
Yeah.
I think we might have lost to Kennesaw State. And
no, we beat Kennesaw State. That was the one Bobby Bedford had the crazy
the
last
half-court
second.
shot. Yeah. But so like at the beginning of the year, it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna grow. Like, yeah, we might have lost to East Tennessee State and barely beat Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
But we're putting up against good contests against South Carolina and Florida. Like, we're gonna improve as the year goes along. Like, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to the American. When the American starts, we're gonna start really getting on our groove. And, I mean, the American started, we were playing all right. We were beating teams we were supposed to beat, but losing to teams that were above us, but probably don't even have the talent that we have.
Yeah.
But then as the season, even, like, the last few games of the season, we just played terribly.
Yeah.
Like, we lost to, like, Rice, who was second last in the conference.
I want to say we ended on a losing streak.
I think we lost the last 5 games of the season.
Something like that, yeah.
And then we beat Tulsa barely in the first round and then got blown out by South Florida. It's just like, I don't know. It's very hard to say because, like, I feel like we have the talent. We have the talent to be much better than what we actually were.
No, I completely agree with that.
And, I mean, we're losing a decent amount of guys. We're losing Brain Johnson, obviously. We might lose RJ. We lost Ben Bayala and Khabib LeCount. Didn't play that much, especially Bayala. But, like, still, we're losing them, too. And I think Cam Hayes is graduating. I don't think he's sticking around. Who else? We're losing, like, one or two other guys. But still, I mean, I hope we can get some transfers to come in and really help us out more than what happened this year. Like, this year, it still wasn't a bad season by any means.
Right.
I just felt like probably 5 more wins on our schedule, 5 or 6 more wins, and probably about 5 or 6 games that you look at, you're like, wow, how do you lose that game?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There was a few really bad losses we had in men's basketball where you sit there and you're like, wow, we really just lost that game. Yeah. I mean, many times. I mean, we lost to Rice quite a few times where you sit there and, like, Rice has had our number for some reason, and I didn't think they were that good. Yeah. Like, Rice, I've never been, like, super impressed with their team. I've thought this entire time we've been the better team. And at the beginning of the year, I would sit there and be like, okay, the 5 main starters we have, when they're on the floor, they are really, really solid. It's when we start getting off the bench is when we really start getting when we start allowing points. But towards the end of the year, even when we had our 5 main guys on the floor, we couldn't do anything. And,
the thing about it is, like, whoever the 5 main guys were on that game, they did good. Because sometimes it would change. Whenever, at first, at the start of the season, it was, like, the same 5 guys. I think it was Felton, Pettiford, Asar, Johnson. Was it Walker?
No, it was, hold on. It was, no, Walker didn't come in until later. It was Felton. It was Pettiford.
I said Pettiford.
Oh, Felton, Pettiford,
Johnson,
Asar, Johnson. Who was the last guy?
It wasn't Malonga. It was.
No. Who was that last guy? Hold on. Now this is going to bother me.
Was it.
This is going to bother me.
Yeah, it's going to bother me too.
Anyway, go ahead and continue with what you were saying.
What I'm saying is pretty much like, even if it was a different 5 guys, whoever was starting that day was doing pretty well. And then we get into our bench. It's like whenever it was kind of like sometimes our team, whoever was on the bench that day, they were like, oh, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to do anything. That type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like, okay, well, that's not how this is supposed to work. We're supposed to, play really good off the bench because that's what you see from these tournament teams right now is you'll have guys who'll come in off the bench and just play absolutely fantastic. And you're like, well, what happened?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you look at BYU did just lose, but their leading scorer all year was their 6th man. Like, you got to look at, like, depth, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. It was just like the 5 guys that started at first were doing good, and then they kind of hit a cold stretch. So Schwartz was trying to mix some things up, and it just never really seemed like we got the right combination of things. Like, it would look good one game, and then there were plenty of games that we were just like, I mean, I go back to it every time. Like, when we played South Florida at home, we lost by 11, and we looked, honestly, terrible all game. Like, I think we lost, like, 71-60, and we looked much worse than that. Like, there's plenty of games like that. It's just really annoying to see how we would play at times because I feel like we were so much better than what actually we were.
Yeah, absolutely. There are many times where I felt like that. Well, you want to talk about women's a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Women's, kind of the same, but, like, at the same time with the women's, I knew exactly who should be out there.
Women's, it was such a weird situation because of the fact that you sat there all season long. It was very up and down. It was a very roller coaster type. Honestly, it was a roller coaster type season for both teams, the men's and the women's. And then the American tournament started, and this team just decided we knew how to play basketball again. Then we get to Rice, and once again, it's Rice again, who we cannot seem to beat. In men's basketball, women's basketball, or football. We cannot beat any of them. Hopefully, we can take care of business against them in baseball whenever we play them there because that's the one thing we're good at. That's the best thing we're good at.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where we cannot seem to beat Rice.
You know, I think a lot with women's basketball is I think McNeil kind of figured out who should be starting and who shouldn't be. Because, like, Tatiana White, like, the last month of the season was amazing.
Yes.
And Amaya Joyner started playing harder. Karina hit a cold stretch probably like mid-late January, and kind of kind of just went on. You know, the freshman struggles make sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
I'm not mad about it. And then Danae just did what Danae did. You know, she does what she does.
Danae McNeil still is one of the best players we've ever had, ever.
And I mean, we did get impacted by injuries, that type of thing, but you have to go past that. You know, Micah Dennis, Sanaya Johnson, two pretty much starters. I mean, that's a lot of the reason why Karina did start a lot was because them two went down, and why we got to see Kaya Miller, Bobby Smith, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
Which I love Bobby Smith. Me and you both love Bobby Smith. I do too.
Bobby Smith is absolutely fantastic.
Her defense is insane. I honestly, because she might be starting next year. Bobby Smith might start next year.
Honestly, good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. I like Bobby Smith a lot.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, and then I guess we'll go into baseball.
Yeah, let's go ahead and transition into some.
And that is what's going
baseball.
on after all.
So let's go ahead and transfer into. We had a great series sweep against Columbia this past weekend. Then a midweek win against Elon on Tuesday, where we won 10-1, going into UTSA this weekend. Let's go ahead and talk about the weekend against Columbia first. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, we just handled business.
Yeah.
Really didn't even know way around it. Like, honestly, this wasn't even fun. Sunday was a close one, 8-6. But besides
close at the end.
Yeah, close to the end. I mean, I think we were up 8-1, I think.
Oh, yeah. It was 8-1.
I think we were up 8-1, and that's kind of been a story of our season. We're up so much on these teams, and they score like 5 runs.
5 runs at the end. It's just like, okay, cool.
Like, golly. And then, of course, the Elon, 10-1. Chris Collar pitched amazing.
I tell you what, I love Chris Collar.
We talked about it before. Like, we both love Collar.
I love Chris Collar.
And he finally got to go long. He went for 5 innings. We finally got to see him pitch that much. I think he had like 2 hits off him. Yeah. And then the man, the big boy came in, the Jackson DiLorenzo.
Jackson DiLorenzo came in.
Him and Collar, I both love him and Collar.
Honestly, it's one of those, we're looking at it now. We're looking at our pitching depth right now. I know at the beginning of the year we had our struggles against UNC where we saw guys who we've never seen before going out there. But right now, looking at our pitching depth, I tell you what, I'm loving what I'm seeing right now from our guys. I mean, I talked about it on my show the other day. There's about 5 or 6 guys who are not our starting pitchers who are just if we sent them out there, I trust them. Yeah. Absolutely trust them.
But after 6,
after those 6, I'm a little worried.
Wait, let's name them real quick.
Okay. Collar, DiLorenzo, Shankman.
I trust Danny Beal.
Danny Beal was one of the guys I had written down. And then I had hold on, let me pull up exactly what I wrote yesterday.
He pitched on Tuesday, but I don't know how much I trust Eric Ritchie.
Eric Ritchie, I've got him written down. And then I also have Aaron Groller.
Yes, okay, Groller. And are you forgetting anybody?
I said Collar, Danny Beal, DiLorenzo, Shankman, Groller, and Eric Ritchie. Those are the ones I wrote down.
Yeah, because I don't. Winners just disappointed me.
Jaden. Well, here's the thing. I was listening to the broadcast. Was it this weekend? I think it was this weekend, where they were talking about Jaden Winter. Basically, apparently, he's had some personal problems.
Okay.
The past
that makes
past
sense
month.
then.
And that's why we haven't seen the best Jaden Winter
Okay,
yet.
and I completely understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly what that means, but personal problems, that's all I needed to know. Because you're right. Jaden Winter has not impressed me that much this year so far.
Because, I mean, when you think about before the season, he was rumored to be maybe the number 3 guy.
Yeah.
He was up there with him, Hunter, and if they wanted to do Shinkman, of course, obviously, Shinkman's a closer.
Right.
But, I am glad to see – I'm not glad. I'm more happy to know that – I shouldn't say happy either.
Yeah.
That he's
there's actually a reason for it.
Yeah, it's not just he's pitching bad.
Yeah.
He's having other stuff off the field.
Absolutely.
So I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
But what I like the most about the Elon game is the fact that one player didn't play. Shink. He didn't have to pitch. I think that means that Godwin's really figuring out who he wants to pitch out in midweek games, to start, like how he wants to schedule his pitchers.
Absolutely.
Because you've seen the other midweek games, we're going like 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah.
Like probably the 4 we've said, plus Winter, Growler, Shinkman. And Shinkman should not have to be pitching in midweek games.
No,
unless we're
absolutely
playing
not.
like at NC State. Stuff like that. Even against NC State midweek, I don't know if I want to play him.
I don't know if I want to play him.
Yeah. Like...
I agree with you. I think I love what I'm seeing right now. The fact it definitely seems like Cliff Godwin has more figured out the lineup he wants to use Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now Tuesdays too. Yeah. He's figured out who he wants to play. Now, whenever we start to have Tuesday and Thursday games, I have no idea what we're going to do there. That'll be very interesting to see.
Who he pitches on Thursday is going to be who's going to start on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Because Collar is going to probably start on Tuesday no matter what.
Absolutely.
Or actually,
I think he should.
Now that I think about it, he's really not pitched any on weekends besides the UNC weekend.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see him start Thursdays just because you're not going to use him during the weekend.
Would you use a pitch count on him? Maybe take him out?
Yeah, for sure use pitch count on him. Probably pitch count of like 40.
Okay.
I would say. I think I could see him starting Thursday games.
Okay.
Just because he has been the midweek guy.
Okay.
The Tuesday starter could pitch on Saturday.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like you could put the Tuesday starter out there on Saturday and probably trust it to be fine.
I can see it.
But with UTSA, I think that, like, another reason about Shink, I want to go out there against UTSA and establish our dominance in the American.
I do too.
I want to go out there and just smack the crap out of them.
Yep.
Like all 3 games, let's just lay the hammer on.
Absolutely.
And I really want to see that. So the fact Shink didn't pitch, he's gonna be able to pitch all of them and just throw gas.
Absolutely.
Throw gas, and I want to see that.
And it's awesome.
It's gonna be awesome. Trey's honestly probably Friday night, tomorrow night, probably not gonna play. Trey is savage. If he does what he's supposed to do, Shinkman's probably not gonna
Probably
play.
not. Yeah.
But Saturday, Sunday, I of course trust Root and I trust Hunter. But at the same time,
another thing I was going to ask you about before we run out of time again, Jaden Hunter going into Sunday's game was not. It was announced that the Sunday's pitcher would be TBA.
Yeah,
that was not straight up. Hey, it's going to be Jaden Hunter. Do you think that's because of how well we played against Columbia all the series, and that we're just like, okay, maybe let's just get another guy out there? Or do you think Cliff Godwin's like, Jaden Hunter? Are we sure about this? What do you think?
Well, you kind of look at Jake Hunter's stats, and you're kind of
Jake Hunter. Sorry, not Jaden Hunter. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You kind of look at Jake Hunter's stats, and you're like, maybe the reason being was something with an arm, and Jake was kind of just like, no, coach, I'm gonna pitch. I'm gonna be fine. Because for him, 3.2 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Mm-hmm. That's not really.
It's not him.
Bad, but it's not great by any means.
It's not what we saw against UNC.
Especially 3.2 innings with only 5 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. That's a lot of pitches.
Yeah.
The fact he only went 3.2. I don't know his exact pitch count. I want to see if I can find that. But, like, I think that, like I said, I think he was kind of more just like, coach, no, I got to pitch. And Cliff was just like, okay, I'll let you out there. And it just ended up not being the best case with him.
Yeah, I mean, I still like Jake Hunter a lot. I think he's a good option we have there. But it's whenever I saw TBA, I was like, what do you mean TBA? I was like, I thought Jake Hunter. I was like, are we not gonna put Jake Hunter in? Like, who are we gonna put in? And I was very curious to see what we're gonna do. Danny Beal. So you said you have trust in Danny Beal.
Oh, I trust in Danny Beal.
Okay.
Yeah. Last year, at times it was kind of a little bit rocky. And honestly, this year, at first, it was like, I just feel like you got to trust Danny Beal. And that's the reason why he pitched so much last year, because even though he had a few bad things, a few rough performances, you just got to trust Danny Beal. You got to. Like, he has the veteran experience.
I say that. I think that's the biggest reason why I do trust him is just because he's been doing this for so long. Yeah. I'm like, all right, Danny Beal's been doing this for a hot minute.
Like, I feel like almost Danny Beal's the guy on the staff, and that's including Shink, that's including Savage, this is including Groot, that you're kind of just like, I'm not even gonna look at you. I know what you're doing. I know what you're gonna do on the field. Yeah. I trust you. Even if at times, like I said, it's rough things, you have in your mind, like, oh, that was a bad pitch. That was a bad outing by him. You're like, It's
Danny Beal.
Yeah, it's Danny Beal.
It's Danny Beal.
Gotta love Danny Beal. And then, we haven't got to talk about our lineup. Because our lineup, no issues. I mean, there's no issues with it.
The bottom of our hitting lineup is starting to really improve these past few weeks. I'm loving to see it.
Yeah.
Ryan McChrystal's really seeing the ball really well. Luke Nowak, that dude, when he gets on base, he is a speedster.
Yep.
Absolutely love what I'm seeing from them so far. I mean, ECU baseball right now, I'm really liking our team right now. I think top 10 is definitely where we're at right now.
Yeah,
like,
we're the 10th
I know we're number
baseball.
10.
Yeah.
I know we're number 10 right now. I love that we're there. I think we have a chance to really to prove that we could be the best team in North Carolina.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, if I'm not mistaken,
Duke is the only one ranked higher than us.
Duke's the only one, because Wake dropped to 16.
Wake's at 16. Duke is the only one that's ranked higher than us right now.
Yeah.
And I think we can be better than Duke.
Yeah, I do too.
That's our take on ECU baseball. You have any closing thoughts for us?
Gotta love Jackson DiLorenzo, don't you?
Gotta love Jackson DiLorenzo. You got to love Jackson DiLorenzo. There is nothing more to say other than that. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Grounded in Greenville. We'll be back here again next Thursday, and we'll be back doing our own personal shows throughout the week. Cannon's got Monday and Wednesday, and I've got just Wednesday at 5. So y'all stay tuned for us. We'll be back here again next Thursday. Until next time, go Pirates.